by MSI with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about The Bomb 12 for the week. Let's see if your game made the cut. And reviews are in for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. We'll talk about that as well as all the other news. It's going to be a good one because we have Sean, TurboShawn McDowell on the show. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm wondering why someone gave Metal Gear Solid a 0.8, Jeff. That's just such a weird low score. It feels like someone has it out for them.
Right. What kind of, that would be like a 1,000-point scale, right? Or at least, that's, I don't know.
Geez, that's just...
Or 100-point scale, maybe, I guess.
Someone entered it backwards on one of the Open Critic things everyone, so I was a little confused by that.
Right, it's current Open Critic scores. Maybe it's going to be a little bit better than what it actually says in there. Yeah, that's weird.
It's like a point or two lower than it should be, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I always wonder how those review aggregation sites work. Is it automated? My understanding is, when talking to the people from Metacritic, is a lot of it's just done manually. They just go out and they go get the stuff and they put in the reviews themselves. I guess someone just put in 0.8 for Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Yeah, or maybe 8.0. It happens. It happens. Yeah. Well,
no,
otherwise good though, Jeff. I finally got over to Ninja Guy and Ragebound, and that game rules.
Really good, right?
Fun with that. Yeah, kicking my ass a little bit, as you might expect from a Ninja Guy game, but it is very fun. I'm having a good time with that. Jeff, I realize we often don't ask how you're doing. How are you doing? What are you up to?
I'm doing good. Kids are back at school, so that was yesterday and today, and it was. It's nice to kind of like, this, for as much as it sucks to get up early and have that routine, meaning you can't break it, you got to do it. It is kind of nice to have a little bit of a routine of getting up, and now it's like, all right, I got my whole day ahead of me. Yes, let's get going. I can take care of some stuff. I streamed some Skies of Arcadia this morning, something that was a little bit easier than I did that a couple weeks ago as well on a Friday morning. And that was a little bit like, let's see if I can do this. Now it's like, this is easy. I'm ready to go. Let's go play some games. So I'm doing good. It is nice to kind of also, have the house be a little bit quiet. Not that I really like having the kids around, but at a certain point at the end of the summer there, you could tell they're getting antsy and they're like, we've kind of done all the things we can do. They've wringed Minecraft dry. And it's like, you know what? Let's get you back in school and learn it again. So yeah, things are going well. Let's get into the show though and explain what we do here. We're Giant Bomb. You go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. You should go to giantbomb.com right now if you've ever had a Giant Bomb account. We really need you to go in there and opt in to our new terms of service agreement. We have fully taken control of the site, and that means change of ownership means you have to agree to everything you've agreed to before, but now with us. And really, this is important because if you don't, it's opt-in. So it means if you don't opt in, you will lose your account. It is not, you might lose your account. You will lose your account when we have the new website. So don't do that. Just help us out. Go join, or go to the site, just giantbomb.com. It's super simple. You log in, click the button. If for some reason you can't remember your password, having trouble with your account, reach out to us, support at giantbomb.com. We will do our best to help you. We got people on the case. So really, that makes a huge difference. Let's get that done. And tell your friends. Go on your Discord servers. Tell your friends to do the same. We don't want anyone to get left behind. As far as this site or this show, I should say, goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater reviews. It is at 86 on Open Critic right now, although I bet once that 0.8 gets corrected, it'll go up a little bit.
I wonder if that's just display error and they entered it correctly on the back end. So 86 might be right. 86 is pretty good. It's we were talking about as we were getting started here, Sean, looking at the scores really quick. I haven't had a chance. Spread. 86 sounds right. It's a lot of 9s, a lot of 8s, and a lot of 7s. So I think 86 does sound correct. Yeah,
exactly. We got one here, a 9 out of 10 from Tumorhu-san at GameSpot. Konami's Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is a safe but successful modernization of a beloved classic. Kieran Verbrugi at Well Played gave it a 6 out of 10. Basically says the same thing, though. With Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, Konami has crafted a visually arresting re-release so fawning and reverent that it reads entirely incurious. Fans of the source material will no doubt relish the opportunity to play a more modern feeling take on a generational piece of art, but such a seemingly important work should inspire more. And then a 9 out of 10 from Liam Croft at Push Square, who says, one of the most faithful remakes ever, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater has made a stealth classic feel modern all over again. Its light but meaningful gameplay updates enhance interaction and feel, while a visual while a visual overall allows it to rub shoulders with the PS5's graphical elite. By staying so loyal to its source text, Metal Gear Solid 3 is now just as incredible today as it was over 20 years ago. We did a quick look. It should be going up soon. It'll be up today for sure. Dan has been playing it. Mike's been playing it. Both of them seem very happy with it. You're a Metal Gear Solid 3 fan as well, right, Sean? I can't remember.
Yeah. I like all the Metal Gear Solid games to some extent. We don't talk about 4 as much. But sure. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And I have been curious how people would react. And it sounds like both Tam's review and the other one that you pulled here that was on the lower end are saying the same thing, but from different approaches of, hey, this is still Metal Gear Solid 3, and we knew that going in because we were like using the original voice lines and stuff like that. They really just remade the graphics, and so in that way, it's almost, I guess you'd say, Blue Point-ish. I think they put a little more quality of life in there, and this one, to I know because I haven't been playing it, but as far as I know, they have been playing like gameplay quality of life stuff too. But it is really that graphical overhaul that is the key appeal here, and I think everyone's going to feel differently about that. I think some people are going to wish for a little bit more. Last year, especially around Game of the Year, we talked about how Persona 3 Reload, I think, is like the new bar for a faithful remake. Before that, like Resident Evil 1 remake. But I think we've reached the point where maybe people do want more from a remake like this. And so I think it depends on how much do you appreciate the original and want it to just be the original. I think some people are looking for a bit more, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I get where Kieran is coming from of using this as a chance to look back at something and having some curiosity about it, maybe not deconstructing it, but kind of looking at the way it works maybe a little bit deeper and rebuilding it as you go to re-release it like this. And yet I do think that most of the reviews do reveal that this was likely the right call to just kind of make that game again, make it look better, make it more accessible, so now even more people can play it. More people will play it now because of this version, and that's maybe the most noble goal you can have with one of these. Is just make a game, bring it back, and give more people a chance to play it, and it succeeds on that front for sure.
And for once, it's a smart move from Konami because they gotta be careful how they treat this series, because if they try to do something too different or change too much of an established classic that they have from Kojima or anyone else, people are going to get angry because people have been trained to not like Konami. And so I think this was probably the smart play if they were going to do it. If they were to add more, to change more, then it would have been a riskier move. So I think they probably made the right call with this one, even if it's not going to please everyone. I think the scores overall reflect that.
Yeah, and Metal Gear Solid 3, a game that I never played originally, but kind of sitting in that quick look with Dan, I caught on pretty quickly that there is a lot of quirks to the game, and not like quirks as in unintended sort of oddities about it, but deeply intended moments that you could have missed. Yeah. Just the saving the game, letting it sit for a long time, coming back to it, and what happens to the end. I'm like, wait, okay. And apparently there's more to the game that you save the game, let it sit, the food spoils, that sort of thing. I do think for this game in particular, it's probably worth preserving all of that as it was, so you could just see how strange the game is in some ways, or interesting is maybe the better word. 'Cause it's not strange, it's kind of cool.
It was ahead of its time in a lot of ways, working with the real-time clock and everything on the PS2.
Yes, it's right. And then, the Dan feeds him some bad meat and then spins him around in the character viewer, and
he throws
making him dizzy, and then he throws up. That's fun stuff. And it's of course, you could do a complete remake from the ground up in terms of the gameplay, and then put all that stuff back in. But I think there's something to be said about this is just it. That's what it did back then, doing exactly the same thing now, and it looks better. So more people will feel willing to give the game, $70 to play it or however much it costs.
Yeah, some of the all-time greats were great because they were just ahead of their time, and you don't need to change them from a gameplay perspective, maybe control perspective, which I believe this one does a little bit. It gives you at least the option for more modern controls in some ways. But take one of the undisputed greats like Mario 64. Are you really gonna change Mario 64 that much, or are you just gonna make it look prettier than ever? That's the kind of thing where I think that's what they need to do here, and from everything I've seen, it seems like they succeeded.
Yep. And they also went all out, including for this next story, which is still Metal Gear Solid Delta. Platinum Games developed Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater's secret mode. This is also from Timur Hussein. Platinum Games, the developer of acclaimed action titles including Bayonetta and Nier Automata, contributed to the development of Konami's Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Konami has confirmed. Specifically, Platinum created a new version of Snake's Nightmare, an Easter egg that longtime fans of Metal Gear Solid 3 will no doubt relish the return of. Snake's Nightmare is a third-person action sequence that is accessed by saving the game when Snake is captured and thrown in prison. When the save file is reloaded, instead of going back to the prison, players wake up in a hellish other world where a mysterious man wielding hook swords takes on demons in a graveyard. The minigame, also known to fans as Guy Savage, was originally written and directed by Shuyo Murata, who contributed to a number of other Metal Gear Solid projects as part of the original Kojima Productions team. Although Metal Gear Solid 3 has been re-released in various forms since its debut on the PlayStation 2, Snake's Nightmare / Guy Savage has been omitted in the majority of them.
Yes.
For Delta, a complete and faithful remake of the original Metal Gear Solid 3, Konami went the extra mile and brought in Platinum to rebuild the hidden mode. As stated in our review, it's an excellent return for the Easter egg. We also showed this off in the quick look, which is, I just had no idea about this, Sean. I didn't know this was a thing at all. And then finding out Platinum helped out with that. Well, that I looked at, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It looks like that. Did it always kind of play like that, or is this a little bit more changed, or do you not remember? I don't know. I might be.
So I actually don't know. I've never actually played Guy Savage because I've never played the original
okay
of Snake Eater. So I don't know. I've only heard from people and seen some gameplay, so I can only assume. But it was always my remembering of the development history is that it was just a concept pitch for some totally different game, and then Kojima wanted a sequence that was so weird and different for this Easter egg,
right?
That they took
and that fit the bill
and put it in there. Yeah,
okay.
I forget exactly how it works out, but yeah, it was more kind of an action gamey thing as far as I understand, but I could be wrong about that. Tell you what, seeing Platinum Games and Metal Gear in the same sentence, this is not how I wanted to see it happen. But
right, but well, that's right. That's the thing, though. It's we can now say, hey, maybe that this leads back to a new Revengeance. Is that just getting our hopes way too high? I mean, obviously, Platinum is such a different thing. Platinum's a very different thing now. They are in sort of save themselves mode. What is the? They're working on Ninja Gaiden 4, right? That's their big thing right now, and then they have said that they want to try to maybe get back to some of that stuff in some ways, but they've lost a lot of talent. People kind of leaving the company to go start their own things again or go back to Capcom. So yeah, maybe this is the kind of thing where it's this is nice that it happened, but don't expect a Revengeance 2 anytime soon, right?
No, yeah. We got that tease a long time ago where just straight up it was teased in a PlayStation event, and everyone's like, well, what happened here? You were clearly teasing MGR2, and yeah, as far as I know, that was a thing they were working on that just went away and is probably never coming back. So I gotta remind myself to not get my hopes up about that one. But it's cool.
Nice. Yeah, and it's nice Konami's doing things again, back in a lot of ways. Maybe not that back, right?
No, yeah, not in that way, because that would be like I was trying to get at with the first segment. I don't think they want to do too much with Metal Gear because of the weirdness with Kojima and everything. Right, they would have to
slow burn.
Yeah, really bring things back. Maybe do even 2 more remakes or something before they're well, this is our series, so I guess we can do a new one. And even then, fans would probably be kind of mad. So yeah, they have to be very cautious about that one. I don't think they would jump into a new project or anything. But speaking to the story here itself, it is really cool that they went through the effort of bringing back this mode that was taken out. I don't remember why it was taken out specifically, but yeah, it wasn't in HD, I believe, because I think I would have played it. That's the one I originally played back in the day. So it's nice that they did put in that effort to have it be a faithful remake.
Yep. Yeah. It's this does feel like going all out, and at a point, if you are going to do the thing of the faithful remake, and you're not going to do it too much on top of that. Yeah, there's some quality of life stuff here and there, some improvements here or there, but if you're going to do that, then you really got to. I do feel like you have to do it all. You kind of can't leave anything behind, and kind of complete the package. Make this the definitive experience, and this really goes a long way toward making it feel exactly like that. So, well played by Konami. I'm glad they were able to make this happen. Yeah. All right. We are going to run to our break now. As I mentioned, the show is brought to you by MSI. We're going to go talk about that right now, unless you go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member, in which case you can skip the ads. For now, let's go talk about MSI. Jan, my computer's sick. I've decided it's time to start building a new one. I just don't know where to start.
Grubb, if your computer is sicky poo, you got to start with MSI, which just dropped something big in its brand new Z890 and B860 Intel motherboards.
Are those the motherboards that unlock the power of the Intel Core Ultra Series 2 CPUs?
Yes, sir. These Mobos, as we're calling them on the streets, are powerhouses for gaming, streaming, and whatever intense tasks you need to throw at them.
Okay, but Jan, you know me. I'm scared of tools. That screwdriver's so sharp.
It's okay, bud. MSI made them Jeff-proof and maybe Dan-proof as well, which means they're easy to work with. No more wrestling with tiny little screws or confusing manuals. We're talking easy debug LEDs that tell you exactly what's going on. Toolless installs for your M2 drives and GPUs, or GPUs. We're calling them GPUs too now.
Okay, hell yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. MSI has that modern BIOS as well that looks like it was actually made for humans to use, not some relic from 2003. Give me more of that.
Yes, that's right. It's going to be so easy to get secure boots on the ground. It's like PC building on easy mode, Grubb. And here's the best part. Giant Bombcast listeners, MSI is giving you 10% off these new, regularly priced Z890 and B860 boards. Just head over to us-store.msi.com and use promo code BOMBCAST at checkout. Boom, instant savings.
I'm going to stack that discount. They allow you to do that. And with MSI's got ongoing promotions, that's potentially going to score me up to $120 in Steam codes. It's basically free games just for upgrading. Everyone listening should do the same.
So if you're ready to upgrade your setup, do not wait. Visit us-store.msi.com and use the code BOMBCAST, BOMCAST, all in lowercase, and give your PC the upgrade it deserves.
MSI, making PC building less of a headache and a lot more fun.
Mobo!
All right, it's Game Mess Mornings. Thanks to MSI. As a reminder, MSI is at PAX. Is that this weekend? Maybe
next weekend.
I think next weekend. Thank you. They're at PAX West next weekend. They have a booth. If you find that booth, which I think we will have some details with you, we'll probably post this somewhere, maybe in our Discord, exactly the booth number. But find MSI, go there and say, hey, Giant Bomb sent me, and you'll get entered into a chance to win some of their goodies, including, I think, some of the motherboards we were just talking about. So definitely go do that. Don't miss out on that opportunity to win some stuff. That's part of being part of the Giant Bomb community, is you get a chance to score some goodies, as always. Let's get back into it. Sean, Jeff Grubb, let's do the news. Longtime Bungie boss Pete Parsons announces departure after 2 decades at the company. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Until recently, Bungie's next game, Marathon, was slated to release in September, but the game was delayed indefinitely in June amid reports that Bungie will lose its independence by fully integrating into PlayStation Studios, something that's been in the works for a while. Now, Bungie's CEO Pete Parsons has announced his departure from the studio after over 2 decades. Parsons joined Bungie in 2002 and served as COO before being promoted to CEO in early 2016. In a statement shared on Bungie's official site, Bungie called his stint on top of the company the honor of a lifetime. I think they probably mean Parsons called that an honor of a lifetime, and added that he is deeply proud of the worlds we've built together and the millions of players who call them home. Before closing his statement, Parsons announced that Chief Development Officer Justin Truman will be the new head of Bungie. He also endorsed Truman as his successor. I've worked alongside Justin for many years, said Parsons. His passion for our games, our team, and our players is unmatched. As a leader in engineering, production, and design, and mostly as the general manager for Destiny 2 and our chief development officer, he has been instrumental in bringing some of the most memorable moments in Bungie's history to life. He lives and breathes this studio, and I have full confidence that he is the right person to lead Bungie forward. This, of course, comes after in July 2024, Bungie was hit by mass layoffs. That included, or whether they were including the layoffs or just left, Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy, who left the company. Former Bungie employees have also come forward and accused the company of being driven by greed thanks to a toxic corporate culture. And also, this is in the follow-up to those tests for Marathon, the public tests that people were talking about and did not seem too hot on. So, yeah, this is maybe not too surprising. I think, especially with the idea that Sony is, PlayStation Studios specifically, is sort of taking over Bungie, which was never supposed to be the way it was going to work, Sean. It was, hey, Sony is making this acquisition, and Bungie will stand alongside PlayStation Studios, but separate and be its own thing. And oh my God, Destiny's not making the money we thought it would make, and Marathon is kind of a mess. So now you're a PlayStation Studios studio.
Yeah, the original idea was more of like a Bethesda thing, right? Where like Bethesda very much owned by Microsoft, by Xbox, but they do operate pretty independently.
Yeah,
and
they're their own vertical.
Yeah, they just like have their games on Game Pass and stuff like that. I think that was the idea here, but then
even more independent, because like even when that was happening with Bethesda, there was Starfield's going to be exclusive. Now that's changed, obviously, but Bungie's games were never even going to be exclusive. Now I still don't think they're going to be exclusive just because the kinds of games they are, and Sony's not necessarily super concerned about that right now because keeping games off Xbox it's just not high on their list of things that they're worried about anymore.
It's not high on anyone's list anymore because
exactly
everyone's looking around saying, hey, we need the money. Yeah, you know what? We'll open things up a little bit. Why not?
Right. So this is very much about PlayStation taking over Bungie. Pete Parsons, is probably the person that should take the fall. So getting him out of there is probably the right move. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I have not followed Bungie really at all in the Destiny era. And yes, that means from like 2013 onward, just because not my kind of games. Hopped into Destiny 1 for a little bit, but then I'm just like, yeah, this live service stuff. This isn't really what I came to Bungie for back in the day. So I'll let them do their thing. So I was gonna be like, Pete Parsons, is that the dude who sucks? And then I look into the chat. That's how everyone feels about him. Got it. So
yeah, he sucks. He's the God. I mean, I can't remember the classic,
it seems like
the classic car story where it's like he would like talk to people about his classic cars like the day before laying them off. Maybe I'm getting that story wrong. Everybody, don't take that. I'll get confirmation from the chat here in a second if I mess that up. But I think that's how it went. I remember Pete Parsons from saying that Microsoft was like pricing out a reacquisition of Bungie. And then Pete Parsons like, that story's not true. And he wouldn't say what part wasn't true. And then it turned out later it was true. And he just kind of went out there and one of those. Yeah. And maybe it was actually the most one of those ever that I've experienced of like this CEO's just straight up like pulling the wool over people's eyes or trying to trick them. And I know that's the case. And me and these other people who were reporting it were kind of talking to each other being like, he's fucking with people, right? He's just straight up lying. I'm like, yeah. And he was. But he's gone now. I guess, Sean, I don't follow Bungie all that much anymore. I have plenty of friends who do, people who really have loved Destiny and Destiny 2. And I do like wonder like what the future of this studio is. It is probably something along the lines of hoping for the best for Marathon and for keeping Destiny 2 going. They probably come back in a couple of years with a reset, like focus on something new at that point, right? Because I just don't see Marathon working.
I don't see Marathon working either. I've been thinking about why exactly I feel that way, and I forget who, but someone in the chat mentioned the other day a very good point. people keep trying to make extraction shooters a thing, but extraction shooters are specifically for the sickos, people who want tons of systems, who want lots of realism in their game. And that genre, any genre like that, is only going to get so big. Like a sim racing, for example. That's the kind of thing where it did explode in popularity, especially like during the pandemic, I think, or pre-pandemic a little bit. But you're only going to get so many people doing that. So even if you capture everyone who wants that right away, well, maybe you've hit a ceiling already. And so that's the thing with Marathon, where it feels like yet another example of them trying to bring this niche franchise to a giant audience, because they're like, oh, this genre, this niche is growing so rapidly, and they're not seeing the ceiling that maybe a lot of us are seeing, and a lot of us are bouncing off of these kinds of games because we're like, well, this is kind of like the last one. It's like when everyone tried making a battle royale.
Yes,
we only
even
need
worse,
so
right?
many of those. Yeah, even worse, because battle royale, at least everyone wraps their head around that right away. Mm-hmm. But even with something like that, we only needed really a PUBG, a Fortnite, and a Call of Duty. And even then, PUBG is like, still big, but petering out. And I don't know what they're looking at here with Marathon, but it feels misguided to me. The entire project has. So, yeah, I think you're right. I don't see Marathon doing particularly well, even if it has Bungie's name behind it, even if it has PlayStation behind it, because I don't know. It looks cool, like graphically and everything, but I don't see anything that's really going to draw people in as opposed to any other shooter.
Yeah, Dougman in chat points out the shooter, the professional game player Shroud, said that sanding off the rough edges takes away everything that makes extraction shooters what they are. And it's like, yeah, I could almost see that like Marathon being a somewhat case study similar to what has happened recently with Monster Hunter Wilds, where it's like that game like is being accused of sanding off the rough edges of that genre to the point where it's not exactly the game that people who fell in love with it wanted it to be. And I think that for a lot of these genres, and maybe this is because we're in like a post Dark Souls world, we want our rough edges because we want to like we wear them as badges of pride of, hey, I played this game and I went through all its bullshit and I own its bullshit now. I'm the king of this bullshit because I figured it out, and now I have this identity that I can attach to this game of I'm someone who can handle a game like this. And I think Marathon being like, we're going to be the very friendly version of this and trying to present it that way is maybe a bad idea.
Right.
It's just fundamentally broken.
I was trying to remember, like, wait, I've seen this video. And it's because Maximilian, watched it on stream one time to explain why fighting games are in a bad spot right now. It's because same thing there. They're trying to sand off too many rough edges, which, you take away some of that stuff. You're also taking away some of the depth, and you're taking away some of the reasons that people want to be there playing these games in the first place, because it does feel a little, I don't know what you call it, like esoteric, I guess, compared to everything else. It feels so different. And when you try to take something like that, any of these genres that are more niche, and make them much more mainstream, rather than making them accessible in terms of like tutorials and like control methods and things like that, you really are taking away some of what makes them special, and you are homogenizing, I guess, them to me. Yeah. That's why when I look at Marathon, I'm like, well, how is this different than any other shooter at this point? Oh, because you keep some of the stuff when you leave the match. Oh, okay. I guess I don't get it. And maybe I don't get it because they are taking away some of the stuff that people like from Tarkov and stuff. I don't know.
Yep. People point out in chat, like, 62 Mike says PUBG to Fortnite happened successfully. That's like right. So it has worked the other way, where it takes something that is weird and strange, make it friendly, and you can
I would argue
reap all the
Battle
words.
Royale, very straightforward though.
Exactly. I think I'm with you on that. Like the things that made PUBG different from Fortnite are it is very obsessed with like physics and things like that, and I do prefer that. But I don't think that game has the sort of, it's not even as complicated as like a Pokemon. Like, and we're talking about like these niche, Pokemon's Pokemon's got like depth to it. Like a kid that gets super into Pokemon. It like one of the things they like about it as a kid is they understand a world and the way things work that their parents don't understand, and that makes them feel an ownership of it. And that feeling never really goes away. And I don't think battle royales ever really were that. Battle royales are, oh, it's cool to be the last person standing, and that was what made that genre special in the beginning. Yeah,
it's elimination mode basically. And I mean, that's why Call of Duty kind of took over from where PUBG was going. Like Warzone became the more quote realistic one of those, because it is doing that stuff like you mentioned with the physics and everything. The way it handles inventory and stuff was very similar. And so I think they were actually smart about making that a mode within another game effectively, even though Warzone has become even bigger than Call of Duty multiplayer. I think that was the right approach for them to take with that, because someone, as much as we hate the Call of Duty app, the client, people do just stay in there and they slowly migrate from multiplayer over a Warzone or vice versa if they're getting tired of Warzone. And when you take that and try to make it its own, do we know how much Marathon they're like aiming for? They said it's not going to be a full price game, but it's going to be a premium price. So we're assuming what, like 40 or 50?
Yeah, I think we were assuming 40. The Concord price is what we call it.
Yeah, having that as opposed to just be like a big free-to-play mode within Destiny or something similar to that, I think that might be a tough sell for people.
Yep, and people keep bringing up Arc Raiders as well in chat. Like that's an extraction shooter, or at least extraction-like. I haven't played it, but I know it has some of those elements. And people seem very hot on that one. So we'll see. That's from the team that did the finals, and the finals popped off really, really hard at first. And kind of waned a little bit. I think Arc Raiders might be able to get through that and get on the other side and become massive, as many people in chat are suggesting.
Yeah.
Dusk Golem. I'm skipping this one. Oh, let's do this one first because we were just talking about extraction shooters. So let's do this one. Escape from Tarkov will finally escape early access this fall. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. Battlestate Games has been developing its intense first-person tactical shooter Escape from Tarkov since 2012. Although the closed beta debuted in 2017, players had no idea when to expect the full release. Now, Battlestate Games has shared a new live-action Escape from Tarkov trailer that confirms its exit from early access this fall. The November 15th release date was revealed in the closing seconds of the video. Studio head Nikita Buyanov subsequently confirmed the date on his Twitter account. Very little was shared about what will be included in Escape from Tarkov version 1, in 1.0 that is. Presumably, it will have some story content as well as refined maps, weapons, and quality of life improvements, but absent any further details from Battlestate Games, they can only speculate in this story. This is another one where it's like, okay, Tarkov, not even in 1.0, and this will be a moment when people do go check this game out. So this could be another sort of resurgence for that game, a game that doesn't really need a resurgence, already is super mega popular. And it's like, God, Marathon definitely, it was smart that they moved that game, because if this was happening at the same time, that would have looked really tough. But even by March of next year, which is now the expected release date for Marathon, because they said it would be out this fiscal year, I think it's gonna be tough with this and Arc Raiders kind of circling it. It's gonna be a tough space. Tarkov already dominates it, and that's not gonna change.
Could you keep reading that next bullet point, please?
Yeah, let's keep going here. Let's see. Battlestate Games has kept a community of Escape from Tarkov players together for over 8 years. However, there have been some issues that caused friction between the studio and its fans. After releasing a $150 Edge of Darkness limited edition that was said to include all future DLC, Battlestate Games released Escape from Tarkov Arena and the game's PvE mode as separate $250 purchases. That led to a backlash against the studio and a subsequent apology from Battlestate Games with a promise to let Edge of Darkness owners access PvE mode, the PvE mode as well.
And
Escape
right
from Tarkov
there,
is only
I think I forgot about this aspect of this game.
I remember that happening,
I think that might be what everyone's chasing, though, is trying to get the sickos to spend a lot of money in their game. And I know people who have spent a lot of money on Escape from Tarkov. Even if there's backlash, there's always people who want that sicko shit, because if it's the one game they play, they're willing to. I know a guy I used to work with. What was it? Whichever series, the mech series that's still going, Mech Warrior, Mech Assault, whichever one it is. In the new one, he was like, I've, over the years, I've probably spent like $1,000 in microtransactions. I was just like, what do you mean you've spent $1,000 in microtransactions in a single game, even if it is over the course of years? And I think the fact that some people are willing to pay for that kind of stuff is why you do see like Bungie and people going after it.
Yep.
But yeah, as for Escape from Tarkov itself, boy, that's a long time for a 1.0, huh?
I mean, that's what happens with some of these live service games. Like Fortnite was in beta for years, and it's like obviously that is a term you just make up. It doesn't mean anything, and in this case, this probably doesn't mean a lot either. But they can treat this like a big important marketing point, and it is the kind of thing where they can introduce new stuff that is $250 and probably capture a lot more money. You're right, though, 100%. That like a developer working on a game like this goes to one of these like GDCs or a GDC equivalent, and gives a talk about their whale spending, and people from these other publishers hear that and they just cannot help themselves. They're like, we have to get in on this action now.
Yeah, that's why I see so many gotchas and stuff, right?
Yeah, but executing on that, especially for a esoteric genre like this, very difficult. But they don't care about that. They just see the dollar signs. So, and they have to learn the hard way.
The mental math that they basically have to steal audience from the other game, and that will not always be successful.
Yep, absolutely. It's not surprising because it happens over and over again. These companies always do this. They see the dollar signs, chase them, they crash and burn, and then they go to the next thing to chase. And it's
they're like a fucking Looney Tunes character every single time. They see the big old dollar signs in their eyes, and they're blinded to everything else. It's incredible.
All right, let's shift up gears here. Maybe no more extraction shooters for the moment. Dusk Golem, who is someone who's leaked some stuff from Capcom before, it has a decent track record, not perfect. Says Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake being treated as a big budget mainline Resident Evil game. This is from My Nintendo News. Resident Evil insider Dusk Golem has revealed some information on the long-rumored Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake from Capcom. Dusk Golem says that the Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake is being handled by the same team which worked on the excellent Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 remakes, and that Capcom is treating it as a big AAA Resident Evil release. So expect fancy visuals and a moody, dark atmosphere, like a full-blown upgrade for this game. As a reminder, this is one of the games that is expected either in 2027 or 2028, but probably 2027. And then Dusk Golem said they're also doing Resident Evil 0, which will probably follow in 2028, but we don't know. Those dates could be flipped. Hey, that sounds real good to me. I think Code Veronica is ripe to get this treatment, and a game that a lot of people liked at the time, but I think a lot of even Resident Evil fans in that moment didn't go to play it right away because it was on Dreamcast and people were used to that series on PlayStation, and then it showed up a bunch of other places later. But by that time, Resident Evil 4 was happening, or at least it was coming, and Resident Evil 4 was like this huge change for the series, and it felt like everything else before that was a little bit archaic, again, in that moment. So I think like having them treating this as a big, important game for Resident Evil is the right move. I think it's going to pay off, and I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Yeah, same. This is actually related to the story we talked about last week on the episode when when Dusk Golem first talked about these things. And I do think I maintain what I said back in that episode of Code Veronica and 0 are the ones that need full-on remakes.
Yeah.
And I think some people were confused when I said that 5 and 6 don't need remakes. And I do stand by that because don't let your favorite angry YouTuber fool you. 5 was a good game. It had awful AI, so it was bad to play on your own. But as a co-op game, 5 rules. 6, different conversation, yes, because it's an okay game. It's not a Resident Evil game in any way, shape, or form. It's an action game. But as an action game, it's like fine enough. Mm-hmm. But those aren't necessarily the games that really need remakes. It's the ones that people want to see be good and do well and be saved from the tech of the time and mistakes that they made with it. And so Code Veronica and 0 had some interesting ideas. And so bringing back Code Veronica as, like you said, this big budget game that could be scary, be spooky, like the Resident Evil 2 remake and everything like that, to smooth over all the rough issues and everything like that. They could make that game really cool. Whereas you can only do so much saving of some of those newer games that weren't good, like Resident Evil 6. It's kind of just what's sunk cost fallacy, I guess, at this point of like, well, 6 is 6. We're just gonna whatever.
I think they do this full remake treatment to 5 and 6 eventually. Just because
it would have to be like a last resort thing. I think what Mike said the other day, that like 1 should come first as like another.
Yes, I agree with that
remake. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But like at some point, and it's like, the problem with that is like 5 needs reworking of its presentation, like just the way that they they don't want to do the controversy all over again, so they will make some changes to that stuff. But I think then that welcomes a full-on rethinking of what that game is, and that should lead them into 6. But that's way down the line. That is not something you need to be concerned about right now. I'm with you that those are games that people can play right now without much trouble. And Code Veronica, get that updated first. That is clearly the priority. Even 0 is the priority, because that's a game where you can make that good now. You just do what you did to Resident Evil 2 and 3, and just but actually like make it play more like Resident Evil 2 and all this stuff, improve the pacing, all that. Yeah, there's a lot they can do there. So those are the right games to do first. And I just think Resident Evil continues to be in a really good spot with this stuff and in the meantime, you can look forward to the mainline games still happening over here to distract you if the most recent remake wasn't your speed, like what happened with Resident Evil 3. Well, Resident Evil 4 came not too long after that. That was great. And then A Village was something that a lot of people liked. So yeah, I'm happy.
They're doing a great job with the series in general.
Yep. Now, on the other hand, Capcom has not been satisfied with Monster Hunter Wild sales, which fell short of our expectations, according to the company. This is from Marcus Persson at Game Reactor. You know that phrase. Despite strong reviews, Capcom's latest entry in the Monster Hunter series hasn't performed as well as the publisher had hoped. At launch, the game was a massive success, breaking records and selling 10 million copies within its first 3 months. But since then, the momentum has slowed significantly. According to Capcom's most recent quarterly report, Monster Hunter Wilds sold just 477,000 copies during the last quarter, the last 3 months. While the game has reached an impressive 10.8 million units in total, the slowdown in recent months has left the company concerned. They said, sales of Monster Hunter Wilds during the first quarter fell short of our initial expectations. Now, it's like we've seen some numbers elsewhere, Sean, that showed like for at least some period in terms of unit sales, Monster Hunter Rise was actually outselling Wilds for at least a couple months there.
Oh, right. I remember.
And that's right. And I think that's probably what has them spooked of like, oh, people are so off of Wilds that they are going to other Monster Hunter games instead. And that's not a good sign for when we want to sell them more DLC or get them excited about the next Monster Hunter game. We could be paying for this one in the next game. Are things really as bad as they sound for this game, Sean? I every time it comes up, chat's just like, that game's trash. And I liked what I played, but I was never a Monster Hunter guy. So I was just like, this seems okay, but I could tell it's not as deep as it was before.
I feel like we've talked a couple times on this episode about the internet overreacting to things. But
definitely,
this is, I think, in contrast to what I literally just said about, they're doing everything right with the Resident Evil. They did something wrong with Monster Hunter, and I think I tried to express that as best as I could when we were talking about it and reviewing it and stuff earlier in the year. Jesus, that was earlier this year.
Yeah, that's bananas, actually.
That's messed up, dude. Okay. Wow, it's just him mean right now. But they took it. We talked about sanding off rough edges earlier in the show, and they did that too much with Monster Hunter. I think the sales, I was trying to look at the sales numbers and be like, well, why are they upset here? Oh, because sales dropped off a cliff. And I think the numbers do reflect this this theory that I have. Everyone was excited for Wilds because Monster Hunter was in such a good spot. Everyone loved World. Rise was really good. They were doing everything right, seemingly. And then Wilds comes out, and it's not the Monster Hunter game that most people want. Even ignoring the fact that it runs like butt, it runs very poorly. Maybe
that's the most common complaint in chat right now is the performance for sure.
Maybe they should have stuck with MT Framework for this one instead of RE Engine. That's a bit of a different discussion, I suppose. But even then, the fact that they did streamline Monster Hunter so much, they took away the sicko shit, and that's what people want. Monster Hunter was growing without sanding off rough edges. They just made things like I was saying earlier with control inputs and methods and streamlining multiplayer and stuff like that. They were making that stuff better so that people could get to the sicko stuff. eventually and learn the game. It's what people liked about Monster Hunter. It's what people like about the Souls games. They like learning these games that are a bit difficult early on, but you get used to it and you learn how to improve. And especially with Monster Hunter being a thing you can do with your friends, people were letting their friends know about it. It's how games like, say, Final Fantasy 14 get huge, is because your friend who loves it tells you this stuff is sick and they're willing to guide you through it until you get up to their level. And I think we're seeing here that word of mouth is hurting this game, or people buy it because they're a fan of the series or they're really looking forward to it, play it, and they're, they'll be someone like me, or like I know Christian feels the same way a lot too when we've talked about it with him, of just like, man, they took away some of the stuff we love. This isn't really Monster Hunter anymore. It feels kind of like a different thing, and that's a bummer, man.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I know about Monster Hunter is it has this community of people who talk to each other to like get other people into the game. And what was a Gaijin hunter or whatever? Is that the guy that like does like really in-depth tutorials and has done it for every one of these games for all the weapons for years and years and years? And I think people like, for as intimidating as that sounds, there is a gravity that builds up when there are so many people on the other side of that intimidation wall being like, it's so fun over here. Like, and we're going to help you. Like you said, like, we're going to bring you in. We're going to teach you all this stuff because we want you to play with us. And it's like, that sounds like a bad experience, but I think we've discovered, at least for some games, for some genres, it is the experience. Like, it is the thing that makes these things feel special in the end.
Yeah, they didn't sell 10 million off of what Monster Hunter Wilds actually is. They sold 10 million off of what the series had become up to that point. Yeah, and I think that's why we see the drop off, is because it isn't that experience that you get to share with your friends in that way. That it's weird because usually bad word of mouth, I think, especially on the internet, doesn't actually hurt sales numbers of a game that much. But when it is like you just mentioned, so community focused, that's all the game kind of has. And so I think, that's why they see the sales metrics just absolutely plummet there, which is very unfortunate. I hope they can right the ship on this one, because there's a good game underneath. It's just all the little issues that it has, the performance issues, like having it be so story focused before you can get to the really cool hunts and stuff like that. They just need to like figure some of that stuff out. Maybe the inevitable expansion will fix some of that stuff. I don't know.
I bet that is like internally what they're like, okay, let's make some fixes now, make some improvements if we can, but we should probably just put all of our focus on getting the expansion correct, because people will want it to be better at that point. Maybe they'll give us another chance, and that'll be the moment that we can really hit home that this is the Monster Hunter you were hoping it would be. But really, the realistic thing there is probably going to be the next game is where they do a lot of the corrections from what they've done here. So might be a little bit of a long wait. Yeah. Last story: revived publisher Acclaim is teasing something for next week. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Sean, you played N64 and stuff. Acclaim was a big publisher on N64. Do you have any affinity for Acclaim?
Hold on, I'm Googling something.
No, I don't. Yeah, I get it. While you're doing that,
okay, no, I was like, did they publish Superman 64? Because that feels like one.
That was Titus or Titus or whatever that is.
Titus, whatever. Titus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I remember that Acclaim was very much just we'll put anything out. They're like, THQ. We'll put anything out, man.
The number of games that I rented for the N64 that started up with the Acclaim logo was it was a huge percentage of those games. So I do have a little bit of an affinity for Acclaim, but they're saying, okay, they are teasing something for next week. I don't think we really know. Let me read the story, and then we'll try to figure out what it could possibly be, because I am stumped, Sean. Publisher Acclaim, which was revived earlier this year after more than 2 decades of dormancy, is teasing some sort of announcement for next week. It's tough to know what exactly this entails at this stage, and the only clue within the above tease, there's a video, is a very quick cut to show some sort of digital demonic face with power symbols surrounding it. We've screenshotted it. They put it up on their website over at Nintendo Life. Within its PR release, Acclaim promises big things to come and is supposedly hard at work on its missions to bring players unforgettable, lasting experiences that will keep them coming back for more. Sounds intriguing, at least, and that's the story again. But we don't know what this is. Now, the reason that this is especially stumping for me, Sean, is the games that it could be that come to mind when I think of Acclaim. Turok, someone else is already making that, and Acclaim's not involved. That's over at Saber Interactive. There is a new Turok game. There's Shadow Man, I guess, but Shadow Man is also has already come back, at least in terms of a re-release from Night Dive. I guess Extreme G. No one is really calling for. I like Extreme G. No one is asking for Extreme G to come back. Aggressive Inline? No way. Rollerblading's a joke now, even though I love rollerblading. It's
Aggressive
a joke.
Inline fucks.
It does. It's a good game. It does fuck. That's right. Now, then there's the licensed properties, and that's a whole. There's no way that they're. Right. I mean, maybe there is, but that's not something that people are going to get excited about.
It's possible. Yeah, I'm looking at this demonic face that was mentioned.
Yes. What do you think?
Yeah. The trailer is just like a panning shot of CRTs that'll say no signal, and then that demonic face that pops up that's all like neon and stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe because has the revived Acclaim done anything yet?
I haven't think so.
Yeah, I just remember what someone said something about Jeff Jarrett and stuff. And I'm like, wait, what is happening with Acclaim? I don't remember exactly what the story has been so far. Maybe they're just announcing that they're coming back as an indie publisher, and that's what we're looking at here.
They did confirm that they were back earlier this year, though. So maybe that's what it is. You're right. Maybe they're finding games and bringing other people's stuff to the forefront, and that they're just trying to build up hype for that. So it's not necessarily something that Acclaim has done before coming back. That it almost certainly has to be that, right? Because I just can't see anything else making.
Because you look at other stuff like say Atari coming back, and Atari, I actually think. We'll see if it pays off in the long run. I thought it was pretty smart about basically coming back as like investing in things that are working because they had money still apparently,
and with a common theme of kind of nostalgic for retro stuff. Yes,
yeah, exactly. So maybe they're just trying to do the same thing here with the Acclaim brand. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's
it's cryptic.
People still want to keep starting up game publishers. It is a lucrative business if you can make it work. It doesn't always work, but people want to do this. So maybe this is them just trying to trade. It's definitely them trying to trade on a name that maybe had something at one point. I hesitate to even say cachet. It had something.
Had something. Yeah.
But we're talking about it. So I guess it was maybe worth something to them if they had to pay to bring it back. Is that Jeff Jarrett, the wrestler, involved? Maybe.
Yes, that's why I was bringing it up. It's like, he's on the board or something.
Yeah, maybe they do some. That
was like the one time
game.
Dan was interested in the news on the Bombcast. I remember was when you brought that up.
Man, okay, all right. Well, let's see. We'll find out next week, and we'll definitely talk about it on Game Mess Mornings. Okay. That is going to do it for the headlines. Let's talk about. Let's see. We got to wrap up the poll question from yesterday, so let's go ahead and grab that real quick. Poll question from yesterday. The results are in. Let me refresh that. Did we actually post up the poll from yesterday, Jan? Maybe we didn't. Let me double check here. Thursday's question was. If not, we'll post that today, and we'll get the answer on Monday. Let's see. Question for you.
I thought we did.
Where do you want to go?
Did...
I thought we did. Yeah, I don't see it posted. We definitely talked about it. Where do you want to go in the next Horizon, Japan, or somewhere else? We'll get that posted up. We'll get the results next week. In the meantime,
Forza Horizon, to be clear, not the other Horizon.
Yes, Forza Horizon. That's a good point. We should definitely clarify that. Although, hey,
maybe.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, White Lady in Japan. Why not?
I mean, why not? It could be. Yeah, it could be played by Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. All right, so we'll get that wrapped up next week. We will get to the Bomb 12 here to wrap up this week here in a second. Before we do that, though, we should talk about what you can expect from us for the rest of the day. UPF is happening at 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's noon Pacific. We're going to be doing Bubsy Robo. So I'll be playing Bubsy 3D refurbished. Dan will be playing Chibi Robo, which has just hit Nintendo Switch Online. So he tried it out a little bit. He's got it up and running. Looking forward to that. I also maybe we'll stream something before that. We'll see. I've got to take care of some other things, but maybe pick up one of these other games we've been talking about and play that on the site because we got some time before 3 p.m. All right. I think with that out of the way, what we'll do is the Bomb 12, everybody. Yeah. It's that time of the week. These are the 12 games that matter to people who have really been playing video games. Let me get the most updated list up here for everybody. This is for the week of August 18th. Let's start here at number 12, Mafia: The Old Country. It's a second week on the list. It dropped a little bit. That's probably right for this game that seems to have a tepid response from people. It's fine for what it is, but because it's like trying to be like a slightly more slight of a game, I think people are just like, yeah, cool, I'm glad that's happening, or it's an easy one to ignore. Everyone around here seems like very happy to ignore it. I'm happy with what I played, but I don't know if I'm going to play any more of it. Sean, how about you?
Just never really had any interest in it from the get-go. I didn't have any interest in the older Mafia games, so yeah, even this like switching genres a little bit did nothing for me.
Number 11 is Merge Maestro, still hanging out real strong in this bottom half of the list. It has been doing so for like 3 weeks now. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is still on here. Number 10, beat that game. Really happy with it. Number 9, Street Fighter 6, although I did put this list together very late yesterday. A bunch of more Street Fighter 6 votes came in, so maybe that should be higher. Maybe next week we'll be able to reflect that. Number 8 is UFO 50. Number 7 is World of Warcraft. That popped off hard this week, and I'm wondering if that's the Midnight expansion has people excited.
Yeah, it has to be.
It's got to be that, right? If that's all, with just the announcement of that, getting people excited to go back to World of Warcraft, I bet that's going to shoot up the charts once Midnight is actually out. Number 6
UFO is UFO 50. That launched on Switch, was it?
It launched everywhere else except for Steam. It had previously just been on Steam. It was everywhere else. Okay. Although you're right to point out the Switch, that's definitely the version that is having the biggest impact. Absolutely. Gotcha. All right, the top half of the chart, number 6, Uma Musume Pretty Derby. The horse girls run strong and they run wild and free on this chart. Number 5 is Battlefield 6, despite the beta being over. A lot of people were submitting that game over the weekend, and it's still very high on the chart. It was in the top 3 last week, so even still being in the top 5 after the beta's over is impressive. Number 4, Death Stranding 2, which does mean there is a new game in the top 3, and that's Sword of the Sea. Sword of the Sea is that new one from Giant Squid, I think is the name of the studio. One of the people that worked on Journey is in charge of that studio, and this is a very Journey-like game. I started it last night, Sean. I'm into it. It's got a really good feeling of riding that sword around like a snowboard or a surfboard. I was just kind of really just going over hills, holding the A button to prime my jump and letting go, and just feeling how good that felt was really nice.
Yeah, riding around on a sword is very good. I did a lot last year, Jeff, in Metaphor Refantasia.
I don't know. Is that a game? I don't know what is that. Number 2, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. That's my game of the week, everybody. That's the one I voted for. That's, of course, just a game that seems to have momentum bursting from its seams because people are constantly checking out. I hear people talking about, hey, I beat it, and because of the updates, I want to go back to it and try some other things that I didn't do before. So, I think that's a game that people are just going to be playing throughout the rest of the year. I don't think it drops off the Bomb 12 until sometime in 2026. Number 1, Donkey Kong Bonanza. It has been number 1 every week that we've done the Bomb 12, including this one. Maybe drops off next week because of Metal Gear. Maybe. We'll see. There's no guarantee. I would
assume so. Yeah, drop from 1st to 2nd or something like that.
Yeah. At the very least, though, I expect that to be hanging around on the charts for quite some time.
Yeah. Damn good game. I did the rehearsals, by the way. I did all the rehearsals.
Okay. Yeah. Right. That's good stuff,
very
right?
Fun.
Yeah.
Very fun. Definitely more of what I wanted out of that game.
All right, and that's the Bomb 12. We'll have another one next Friday. If you want to submit your game, if you want to have your say on the Bomb 12, go to giantbomb.com. The blog post for this Bomb 12 is up right now. At the bottom, you'll find a link to a form where you could submit your game. So go check that out. I'll also post updates and reminders throughout the week on my Blue Sky, or maybe on the Giant Bomb Blue Sky. We'll see. All right, so with that out of the way, let's wrap the show up. Sean, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
It's always a fun time, Jeff.
Thank you, Jan, for producing. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.